Okay.
So I'm back. I'm not sitting on the floor anymore. While we were doing the video talking about Josiah and the complications he had a seizure, and we had to go deal with it. So I turned off the video. We're gonna take off that little part and splice this together. But anyway, what we were saying was, even if you have a child that doesn't walk or talk, God has uniquely made that child for your family. Josiah's over on the floor, so we're just checking on him. He's okay. He's on the floor on purpose. Just God has uniquely made that child for your family, and killing that child just because you think that they might have a bad quality of life or you think they might die is just as wrong as if you said, well, you know what? Grandma hasn't been doing well, but I really want to be able to hold her hand when she dies. So do you think maybe like Tuesday? Does Tuesday work for everybody? We could just, if we just killed her on Tuesday, we'd all feel better about ourselves. But you're killing another human being. Or Grandma, she's mostly in bed all the time and we think she hears us. We see her smile once in a while, but she can't really talk to us. And that's just, her quality of life is really bad. We should just kill her. We wouldn't say that. Well, I hope we wouldn't say that about old people, but it's starting to get to that point that it is said about old people. What about people who do have a disability? Somebody who's always in a wheelchair that needs to be pushed around all the time. Mark and I have met people with a whole array of disabilities, and they are just as valuable to our churches, to our society, to their families, as every other person that God has made, because they are made in God's image, and God has created a perfect life for them. Like, not a perfect life, like not, oh, everything's going to be great. What he designed it to be. And so, if we are to take our child's life because we think that they're going to have a bad quality of life, we've just become a murderer, thinking that we know that our plans are better than God's plans. And on that note, a lot of times when kids are diagnosed with something in utero, they don't actually have that problem. There's a lot of times that babies are born that they don't have the problem the doctors say they have. I'm not saying it's like the majority of the time or anything like that, but there are lots of cases, you can go look them up, where somebody is told, your child is going to have this disease, they're going to die within 15 minutes of being born, and they go on and live a totally perfect, normal, healthy life with no problem ever noticed whatsoever. We were told at one of our ultrasounds with Samuel that there was a problem with his head measurements and that he was going to need brain surgery because his head wasn't going to grow correctly, and it was never a problem. So whether it was just bad measuring on the ultrasound person's part or there was something wrong and God healed it, I don't know. It could be either one. But if we had gone and killed the baby because they told us the baby might have this problem, it was wrong. Samuel's a healthy 12-year-old.
You might get COVID. Can I kill you?
I might get COVID. The whole world's getting COVID.
It's okay. We just kill you and get it over with?
No, not allowed. So, yeah, that was one of the things I was going to talk about. There was something else that I was going to talk about, but I forget. It had to do with this whole abortion and everything like that, but I don't know. So, as Christians, we need to be declaring biblical. We need to be declaring that life is not in our hands. Life is in God's hands. And we need to come alongside women who actually need help, which is some of the women that go into the abortion mill. Some of them are at the end of their rope and really have no idea what else to do. We know of a case where there's a lady who is pregnant and is losing her housing because family does not want her to have another child. They feel like she's already had too many and all of that stuff. And she doesn't have support. So that's where the church needs to come alongside and help out that mama. But I will tell you, from being out there on the street, most of the women going into the abortion mill know exactly what they're doing. They will tell you, I am going in there to kill my child because I don't want it. Some of them even have multiple children at home. They know what a child looks like. They know the blessing of a child, and they just don't want it anymore. Or, I won't be able to go off to college. I won't be able to get that other job. My boyfriend's going to leave me. We've heard that one a lot. my boyfriend's going to leave me. Well, honey, if your boyfriend's going to leave you because you're not willing to kill the child in your womb, your boyfriend's not worth it. He's a idiot.
Yep.
I don't use that often. And I was just reminded from the other room, there was someone who told us that his dogs were too precious to him and he wasn't going to get rid of them, so he was getting rid of the kid.
Gonna have to kill the kid.
Gonna have to kill the kid. So, I mean, and I'm not saying this flippantly. This is how they actually talk out there. Like, I'm not trying to make light of what they said. That is what they do. So, it is, most of the people walking in there are not for the reasons that the pro-choice side has convinced you are there. Cases of rape and incest that everybody wants to talk about, that's 1%. Less than 1% of the abortions that are happening. The case of the health of the mother, most of the health of the mother cases, I just realized this can go off because he's not in there anymore. Most of the health of the mother cases are mental health. Mom would mentally struggle if she had to go through another pregnancy. Well, I will just tell you that nobody, very few, that less than 1%, the rape and incest, the 99 other percent had the choice of whether they were going to do the deed that caused the baby. So we will just leave it at that. The other thing I was going to say, I remembered, is something that most people don't want to talk about, and I'm going to be controversial here because I haven't been controversial enough yet, that most of the birth control that is used in this country actually causes early abortions. That is what they are made for. The paperwork tells you that, but most people don't read the paperwork. And I am not going to blame you for not reading the paperwork because I have been on a couple different forms of contraception and I did not read the entire paperwork.
The doctors told us it was safe.
The doctors told us it was safe. The doctors told us that the way, so the one of them that we were on, that I'll talk about first, was the pill. And so the pill is supposed to, their number one thing to do is to cause you to not release an egg every month. That's the number one way. But the number two way is it causes your body to not have the lining in the uterus that a woman sheds every month, and that's why she has a period. It makes it so that that lining is uninhabitable. I don't know the word they use, but not ready for a fertilized egg to attach. So you take the pill, you still release an egg, like there's a possibility you still release an egg, that egg gets fertilized, you now have a fertilized egg that has nowhere to attach, and
because of something you did
on purpose, and so you starve that baby to death until that egg passes. That's what it is. We were on the pill for a little while. We may have aborted babies that we didn't know about. I didn't know that's how it worked. The doctors don't tell you, but that is what it is. And churches need to be more willing to stand up and say, this is what happens, and you shouldn't use this form of birth control. There's also IUDs that make it so that the baby can't attach. A fertilized egg cannot attach on the inside. Sometimes the fertilized egg still does attach, even while you have an IUD, and then that causes danger for the baby and for the mother. Because if that IUD gets pushed because of the baby growing and gets pushed into the side of the mom's uterus, she can have severe damage or death because of that. There's like the morning after pill is made specifically to kill the baby after you have a fertilized egg. I don't remember all the other ones. I didn't turn this on thinking I was going to do a whole birth control rant, but look at the birth controls. What?
Are children a blessing from the Lord, or should we be controlling what?
Yes, I was going to get into that. So children are a blessing from the Lord.
Battery's getting low, so don't
Gotcha.
make it too long.
Okay, so some of the types of birth control are things that are just barrier method. I'm not going to get too deep into those, but like condoms, diaphragms, those types of things. The issue is with those is that God has created intimacy to be within a couple to allow for procreation. I'm not saying that's the only reason, and there are couples that are too old that aren't going to have children. I'm not saying that they can't be intimate with each other, but one of the reasons that God gave us marriage was so that we could replenish the earth. We could fill the earth, procreate, all of those things. And so if we're deciding in our own timing, hey God, we're not ready for a baby, we're going to cause you to not give us one by using this birth control, you're saying, God, we're smarter than you. God's in control of this. Virginia was conceived on the pill. We told God, nope, we're not ready for a baby. We're going on birth control. And God gave us a baby. About 3 years later, we decided, hey, we're ready for another baby. We stopped the birth control we were on, immediately got pregnant. Like the night we decided, hey, we should have another baby, got pregnant. I had a miscarriage with that one. And so God, we said, no, you gave us a baby. We said, yes, you took that baby away. God's in control of all of this. And since then, we've left it totally up to God. In there, we've had 2 miscarriages and a stillborn, plus all the children that you see. But God is in control. He will give us babies or not give us babies. Every baby is a blessing from God, whether it is conceived in rape, incest, by 2 loving parents who want to have the baby, or a single woman who finds herself in a one-night stand. All of those babies, God knows about them, God cares about them, God made them. Roe versus Wade did not take away all your abortion rights or whatever you want to say. All it did was move it back to the states. And Christians, we need to step up and be vocal about how important life is, the sanctity of life, and be about spreading the gospel. So, we will see you guys next time on Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God.